Hey guys, it's Sean from Hughes Small Engine Repair. Today I'm going to be doing a video on this little guy right here. This is a, let's see, 98. This is a late 90s Craftsman rototiller. Small little guy. It's only like 17, 18 inches wide. 3 3/4 horse Briggs. I'm going to show you how to rebuild carburetor on one of these. This is kind of like a combination of the Briggs & Stratton classic carburetors that pull the fuel right up from the tank. They have the straws that draw the fuel up from the bottom of the tank, and it's a little bit bigger carburetor than those, and slightly different style. You'll see once I get it apart. So it's kind of like an updraft carburetor, but it's not technically, I don't think. So anyway, this thing runs pretty good, but it's got a little bit of a hesitation when you run it fully off choke, and it takes a while for it to run all right without the choke on. You usually have to leave it at half choke for about 5 minutes for it to run decent. So I'm just going to go ahead and tear the air cleaner off and tear the carburetor off. The whole fuel tank comes out with the carburetor. And then we'll get it on the bench and we'll start tearing it apart. I've got my ultrasonic cleaner heating up right now, so we'll clean it in that. And then I'll do a test run after I rebuild it so you can see how it does. So let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and take these 2 bolts off. They're 5/16. There's 4 5/16 bolts. Keep everything organized. Keep it in this or keep it in a parts tray. Something like that. It helps, promise. These are Torx. About T20, I think. So take that one off and then that one there. And this whole throttle and choke plate here should come off. So and they give you a nice little access hole here if you move the throttle to get to this screw. It was really sweet of them. That was real nice. Show you this spring here. You want to slide that spring through the loop in this governor linkage here, and then that whole plate will come away. We can take this link off of the choke as well. You can see you want to put these back in the right hole just so that the throw is right. You can see that bottom hole, hopefully you can see that bottom hole is worn more than the top, so it shouldn't be hard to remember which hole that linkage goes in. So now that that's off, let's see. I'm going to take this anchor plate off. This is just the spring, the throttle return spring there, and that's a 1/4 inch. I'll go ahead and take that off. Now I can get to these 2 intake manifold bolts. They're both 3/8. There's a 3/8 bolt, anchor bolt down here that holds the gas tank on. It's a little bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one off first. Now I'm going to try to rotate to get this last piece of linkage off. Just do like a 1/4 rotation. There you go. And on this one, there's only one hole That linkage can go in for the throttle, the one that goes in under the shroud here. So you know right where that's going. So that's good. Let's get this whole assembly thrown up in the vise. I'll throw it in the vise right on that bracket, and then we'll start taking the carburetor apart. So before I take the carburetor apart, I'll show you. This is the ultrasonic cleaner I have. This is a pretty cheap Chinese one, but these honestly work really well. I have no idea what brand it is. It's really badly translated from most likely Chinese to English, so it's got great phrases like "don't keep heating without water nor supervised," so you know it's quality. I set the temperature to 55 degrees Celsius, which is like, I don't know what it is in normal American terms, but I think it's like 120 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. And then I usually put it in there for an hour. And then after I do them in there for an hour, after I soak them with it going, I clean them off with brake clean and blow it out with compressed air. So anyway, I'll go ahead and take this carburetor off. We'll disassemble it. We'll throw it in the tank, and then I'll bring you back once it's all cleaned up and ready to put back together. And then we'll throw it on the machine and see how she goes. So this carburetor is held on kind of like the older classic style diaphragm carburetors, like I said, with screws. It bolts right into the tank. We already took one of them out because this one right here on the other side is where that bracket bolts for the throttle controls. So it looks like we only have 2 more screws to take out, unless I'm wrong. Oh, I think there's one that goes down, a big long one that goes down through. Yeah, there is, right here. So I've got this one to take out. This is the big long one. Try to get my hand in there. So there's the carburetor. You can see what I'm talking about. They're like a big version of the smaller Briggs & Stratton classic carburetors with a diaphragm and a little spring that sits, you know, that really cheap engine that's everywhere that you see on really cheap like base model push mowers. This is pretty much a giant version of that. But we'll leave that gasket there because I don't have another one. It's a little trashed, but it's not split anywhere, and this isn't the customer's machine, so I'm not going to worry about it. I think it'll be perfectly fine. So we're going to go ahead and take this jet out here. And this isn't an adjustment, so you don't have to worry about putting this in on this one anyway, the correct number of turns. You just tighten it down until it's seated. So pull that screen off. That screen doesn't look like it has too much stuff on it, but I don't usually clean those. I'll just blow it out with compressed air. It's not that big of a deal. You can see there's definitely some crud on the bottom of this screen here that's picking up from the tank, and that's why we're cleaning it. So now we're going to take the diaphragm off of here. This is the pump that pulls the fuel up from the tank, because it isn't gravity feed, obviously, if it sits on top of the tank. I'm just going to pull that diaphragm cover off. We'll pull all that stuff out of there. Usually, if I did have one of these diaphragms, I would definitely replace it. Just because these are kind of can be a common issue for engine performance concerns on these, but I'll inspect it, and if it looks really trashed around the edges, I'll probably replace it. But if it's halfway decent, I'll just leave it. Again, this isn't the customer's machine, so I'm not going to be replacing as much as I would if it had been a customer bringing this to me. Take the basket out, throw that in. As long as that jet stays. I don't want to lose it in the bottom. Okay, it stayed. Alright. So that's not quite heated up fully yet. It's only at 40 degrees, but I'll go ahead and start it. We got the carburetor all cleaned up now. Spent an hour in the ultrasonic. You can see it shined up real well. That ultrasonic cleaner it makes these carburetors look like almost brand new again. I'll start by putting this jet in. I cleaned this jet out with brake clean, like I said, and then blew it out with compressed air, just like I did with everything else. So that goes right in here. And again, like I said, there's no adjustment on this one. There were on the earlier ones, I believe, but this is late 90s, so emissions stuff, they didn't want anyone messing around. So it's not adjustable. All you're going to do is finger tight until it bottoms out, and then just snug it a little bit with a flathead, and that's all there is to it. No adjustment. So we're going to go ahead and put the pump back together and the diaphragm. So you see there's a spring here and a cap. Spring first, down there, cap on top of the spring, and then your diaphragm. And you can see if you're reusing your old diaphragm, you can see the indent pointing up. This side is indented, so that means that this side is going down, but also it's got a little pin here, a little roll pin to center it, so you can really only put it on one way. But with a new diaphragm, it doesn't matter because it's going to seat itself in. Now, remember, you got two things to look out for when you're putting this back on. You got this governor linkage right here that attaches to the throttle, where we've got to have to rotate this tank in. Got to pull the tank up like this, put it over the first part of that governor linkage. If it goes, easier said than done. There we go, and then rotate it back. And second thing we got to look out for is this PCV pipe, because there's the PCV valve on the side of the engine there, crankcase breather. We're going to want to make sure that that PCV tube here that recirculates the pressure from the crankcase back into the carburetor and then burns off the extra gases. We're going to want to make sure that that's attached. Remember, we've got this one last bolt that goes right in the bracket here on the bottom of the tank. It goes in the bottom of the block. So we're going to, before we tighten it up top on the manifold, we're going to want to start this bolt so everything's threaded right. That way it'll go back together a lot easier. All right, now we'll just throw some gas in it and fire it up and see how she runs. See how it goes. I stabilize all my gas, but I kind of want to try True Fuel. It's really only cost effective for me on my two-stroke stuff, because I have a couple of acres out here and most of it's lawn. I definitely couldn't run the straight True Fuel stuff in my tractor because it would just cost way too much. But I've been thinking about using True Fuel instead of just stabilizing all my gas. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you guys have tried True Fuel, is it worth it? Especially for two-stroke stuff. Let's see if this thing starts, huh? Wow, almost first pull after having the whole carburetor drained. That still shuts off real quick without a choke. Well, I guess we'll call that a pretty successful carburetor rebuild then. Still seems like it needs a little bit of choke when it first starts and it's a little cold, but it came right out of it after like 10 seconds of running on like half choke. So, and it ran real smooth, full out. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's a lot better than it was, and I think that'll be good to use for this year. Well, thanks for watching this video. Hope you learned something. Hope this helped you out. If it did, leave a like, leave a comment down below. And like I said, let me know what you think about that True Fuel stuff. If it's worth it, I might try using it this summer. So again, thanks for your support. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Keep up with the videos and the updates. Learn more about how to fix this stuff. And I'll see you in the next video.